Hello and welcome to another edition where I interview an author from butterflyliving.org. And today we have my author friend Lora Avery. Hello, Laura.
Hello, Mary. Thank you for having me today.
I'm so glad you're here. And we are going to talk about your article. It's entitled, What is Ministry in the Bible? And How to Discover Your God-Given Calling. So, can you share the story you open up your article with about your expectations and how you started discovering a little more about ministry?
Sure. I'm probably not unusual in expecting that when the calendar year flips, things are going to change more than just the number on the last digit of the year that we're looking at for our calendar. It seems like all of the problems are left in the past, and now we've got this open page that's ready for us to just write the things that we've been wanting to get to. And that's my expectation coming into every year. You'd think I would learn after time that that doesn't tend to last. So this year, actually, it came even earlier. January 6th was when we had the first big hit. And
Wow.
it was one of those calls that you hate to get. The one that fortunately starts with, everything's okay for right now, but we're in the emergency room. So that was the way that the year started. So my bubble got burst pretty early on.
Wow. That's early, January 6th. And I'm with
Hmm.
you. You have this hope that January 1st, we're going to have a clean slate, but you're right. We carry everything on with us. It's good to set goals, but life continues to roll on. So you write about a season. This starts at January 6th. You continue in your article to write about a season of sadness and confusion after a series of events. Can you discuss how you were able to overcome your depression and rediscover your ministry in the process?
Yes. I got caught up in the disappointment of unmet expectations. As I said, starting into the year, here's a brand new slate. Here are the things I'm going to do. I had a new book launching on March 3rd. I was going to prepare for all of that, have all of these great ideas of things I was going to do. We had the emergency room episode early on. The aftermath of that lasted for about a month. And then went into a conference that I went to. And after coming back from that conference, I was going to be stopping by my mom's place and spending the weekend with her, and discovered when I got there that she had had an accident. She had fallen, broken her shoulder, her dominant arm, and needed replacement surgery. So she needed care at that point in time. So instead of staying for the weekend, I ended up staying for a week, and surgery followed that, and she's still in care right now and needing care. But after that first week, I was feeling sidelined. I was feeling that this isn't what God had been calling me to do. I was confused, thinking, okay, I thought I heard God say, I'm supposed to be writing and speaking, but it seems like things are dragging me away from that at every turn. Did I really hear God properly? What am I really supposed to be doing? And that confusion caused me as a list maker to go through my list of disappointments and say, okay, all of these different things are wrong, so despair is the right conclusion here. And I let myself get pulled into that negative cycle and ended up with an actual depression. And I was sleeping and not feeling like doing anything then at that point in time. And it's God has a way of bringing us out of those things. During my prayer time the next morning after my birthday, when I really didn't feel like celebrating, he drew me in and just hugged me the way that God can spiritually, to give me what I needed, to tell me he's in the midst of this. This wasn't my plan, but it is his plan.
Hmm. I love how you say you felt God hug you
Mm,
because in those dark, dark spaces that you're talking about, we can feel so alone.
right,
Mm.
right.
So I love how you were so vulnerable and you shared your raw feelings, you also shared that it doesn't always work that way. We don't always escape those seasons of sadness and depression the same
Right.
way. And I think that's really important as well, that that's in your
Yes.
article.
Yes, yes. In this particular case, God did heal me instantaneously. I've had a case in my own life in the past where medication and counseling was required to get me out of one of those dark seasons. And I have family members also who chronically suffer from depression and other forms of mental health issues. So I understand there's a wide variety of things that can be causes for those and a wide variety of ways that God brings us what we need in the midst of those circumstances as well.
Well, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. I think that's really important
Yes.
for us to understand. And then, so let's go back to your ministry. So you have this quote, and it ties into your beautiful word of the year, abide. So you go through all these things. You talk about your expectations, which we can all relate to. I actually just ran an article from Elise Daly Parker about managing expectations on Butterfly Living. It's such a struggle sometimes. And you address that, but then you bring it all together and you wrote this: only by abiding in the Lord's presence can I thrive in a year of such turmoil. God is my secure anchor. Everything else can shift and change. That is such a great, encouraging quote. And how does that relate to your ministry and how you bring it to really our ministry is love and how we express that? God calls us in very different ways. Can you wrap that up for us?
Yes, yes. As I was going through all of this, I realized why God gave me the word abide for this year. There is absolutely no way I could make it through all of this without Him. I needed His peace. I needed His comfort. I needed the strength that I can get only in Him.
Mhm.
And He is the source of our love. He's the one who pours his love into us. He is the source of all real love. And if we're going to give love out, whether we're giving it back to him or to other people, we need to receive his love first and be filled with that love because that love comes from the overflow of what he's given us.
That's beautiful. And I love too, you describe ministry looks differently sometimes than we think. And
Yes,
you package, you have your ministry of children, which I'm going to ask you about your book in a minute, but you also, the ministry of love and caring for your mom. Sometimes that's our ministry, our day to
right,
day, raising our children, taking care of our parents. So, finding
right.
our ministry is so important because it helps us utilize the gifts God's given us to,
Yes,
spread the good news and to support each other. So,
right.
speaking of your ministry of children, tell us about your book and how did this come about?
Yes. So my book is titled The Biggest Why. Finding the Real Treasure is Loving God and People. And this it came about from a desire I had to help children just build that solid faith foundation. I grew up in the church as a child, and I knew that this was about relationship with God and about loving God and having Him love us. And I knew all of that. But somehow that message got lost in
Mhm.
all of the chaos of all of the other things as I'm memorizing the Bible verses and hearing all the commandments and doing all the things and being a list person by nature. I got a little lost in that and felt like it was so complicated. And that scattered my efforts, that drained me, and took my focus away from where it really needed to be. I missed that as a child, even growing up in the church, hearing all of the things in the Bible and from people who were godly people. If I could miss it, other people can miss it
Mhm.
too. I wanted to make sure that kids know what I learned so late in life. It's all about loving God and people. Jesus says in Matthew 22:37 to 39, when he's responding to the person who's asking, what's the greatest commandment? He says, love the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, soul, and strength. That's the first and greatest commandment, and love your neighbor as yourself. And then he goes on to say, all the law and prophets hang on these two commands.
Mm,
All of them.
that's
Everything springs from love. 1 Corinthians 13, the love chapter, explains to us at the very beginning that things that are done without love really don't have meaning. So love is the source of it all. And I want kids to understand that. So this is why I wrote this book, to help kids understand what I missed early in life and give them that solid faith foundation that they need so that hopefully they don't experience that same confusion and chaos that I did when I was younger.
Oh, it sounds wonderful. I think everyone should order them for their nieces, their children. That's great. And where can people connect with you, Laura?
People can connect with me on my website, loravery.com. That's LORAAVERY.com.
Great. Well, I'm so glad you came and shared and your words too. And you have to head over to butterflyliving.org and look for Laura's articles. She sums up that what is your ministry? It begins with love. And then God will show you where you can use your love and your specific gifts to please Him and to encourage others. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you, Laura.
Thank you, Mary.